Alright, so this series of videos is going to be over maximization and minimization problems. So the first thing we're going to do is define a few terms and see what that means. And there'll be questions about these in there. After that, we're going to see a few examples, and I'm going to solve them in three different ways. First way I'm going to solve them is graphically estimating them using the graphing calculator. Second way I'm going to solve them is with what's called the first derivative test. And the third way I'm going to solve them is with what's called the second derivative. But before I get into any of those examples, let's lay down the definitions. Let's explain the two derivative tests and go from there. So first off, relative, also called local, extrema. And when I use this term extrema, I'm just talking about either maxima or minimum, a maximum location or a minimum location. I misspelled relative. So this is the highest or lowest value or of a function on some open interval AB. And the open interval does become very important later on in mathematics when you start talking about some analysis. For now, we'll stick with sort of very high-level understanding of this, just knowing that the relative or local extreme value would just be some point. So for example, let me change colors. If I had this quartic function right here, both of these are relative maxima. Okay, we can see clearly this one right here is the highest point in this open interval around there. However, there are higher points here. That's not a problem. Relative or local means just in a certain area. This one over here, the second one farther right, this maximum, is obviously still highest point in some open interval, but actually happens to be the highest point anywhere. We'll have a special name for that. We can see right here we have a relative minimum. It's the lowest point in some open interval around there, but clearly there are lower points around here. Okay? The next definition, absolute, also called global extrema. And this is the highest or lowest value point. I'm being a little bit loose with the notation here, of a function for any input value in its domain. Okay, so for example, this point right here is also the absolute maximum. Whereas these 2 points here are not an absolute maximum and not an absolute minimum, because there are higher points than this first yellow point and lower points than this first purple point.